People usually think the most dangerous moment in an MMA fight is the knockout. That assumption comes from what's visible. What isn't visible is the decision made days earlier, when a fighter chooses how much weight to cut, knowing it will never be fully reversible by fight night. That choice doesn't decide who wins. It decides how failure appears when the body's under stress. If you want grounded explanations of MMA that focus on decisions and consequences rather than highlights, subscribe to Fight Reality. This video isn't about condemning weight cutting. It's about understanding what fighters give up when they decide to do it anyway. Number one, weight cutting is often described as preparation, but in reality, it's a controlled form of system disruption. The body is designed to function within narrow ranges of hydration, electrolyte balance, and blood volume. Cutting large amounts of weight forces those systems outside their preferred range, temporarily, with the hope that they can be stabilized just enough before competition. What the fighter gains is obvious. On fight night, they are physically larger than their opponent at the same weight limit. What they give up is harder to measure. They accept instability in exchange for size, trusting that the instability won't surface at the wrong moment. That trade-off doesn't show up in training clips or weigh-in photos. It shows up when fatigue and chaos collide. Number two, dehydration doesn't just reduce water weight. It alters how information moves through the body. Nerve signals travel through environments that depend on fluid balance. When that balance is disrupted, reaction speed doesn't collapse, but it becomes less consistent. Timing becomes harder to rely on. Under calm conditions, this difference is barely noticeable. Under stress, it matters. Fighting is not a stable environment. It demands rapid decisions while processing threat, pain, noise, and exhaustion. Any reduction in signal reliability narrows the margin for correction. The fighter doesn't feel weaker, they feel less forgiving. Number three, rehydration restores mass, not certainty. After weigh-ins, fighters drink, eat, and replenish. Their weight increases rapidly, sometimes dramatically. From the outside, this looks like recovery. Internally, recovery is partial. Electrolyte balance takes longer to normalize. Blood plasma volume does not fully return to baseline overnight. Neurological systems lag behind visible changes. The body looks ready before it actually is. This creates a dangerous illusion. Fighters believe the cost has been paid and reversed. In reality, it has only been postponed. Number four, under ideal circumstances, the body can compensate. During light movement, warm-ups, and early exchanges, most fighters appear functional. The stress hasn't peaked yet. The systems under strain are still holding. The problem emerges when stress accumulates. A hard scramble, a body shot, a round that doesn't go as planned. That's when compensation fails. Recovery between rounds becomes incomplete. Breathing feels heavier than expected. Muscles stay tense instead of resetting. Weight cutting doesn't cause collapse. It changes how quickly the body runs out of options. Number five, damage is also processed differently in a dehydrated system. Blood becomes slightly thicker. Oxygen delivery becomes marginally less efficient. Waste products clear more slowly from working muscles. These differences are small in isolation. Together, they change how punishment accumulates. Shots that would normally be absorbed begin to linger. Fatigue amplifies pain. Pain disrupts decision-making. From the outside, this looks like a sudden drop in durability. Inside, it's the body failing to reset at the speed fighting demands. Number six, weight cutting also affects mental stability, not through fear, but through narrowing capacity. Extreme cuts reduce sleep quality. They elevate baseline anxiety. They compress emotional tolerance. This doesn't make fighters irrational. It makes them less adaptable. When something unexpected happens, the mind has fewer pathways to remain calm. Stress feels sharper. Errors feel heavier. Fighters rely on routines and habits to manage pressure. Weight cutting thins the buffer that allows those habits to hold under strain. Number seven, the reason weight cutting persists isn't ignorance. Most fighters understand the risks. What they also understand is the environment they operate in. If one fighter cuts aggressively and the other doesn't, the size difference becomes a factor in clinches, grappling exchanges, and physical control. That advantage is real, so the decision is rarely between safety and danger. It's between two different kinds of risk. One option accepts physical disadvantage, The other accepts systemic instability. Neither option is neutral. Number 8. This dynamic turns weight cutting into an arms race. As long as size correlates with control, restraint becomes a disadvantage. Fighters who cut less are not rewarded for preserving stability. They are punished for giving up leverage. Regulatory efforts often focus on timing and procedures. These may reduce extremes, but they don't change incentives. As long as outcomes reward size, fighters will accept instability to obtain it. This isn't recklessness. It's adaptation to how risk is distributed. Number 9. Repeated weight cuts compound consequences quietly. The kidneys experience repeated stress. Hormonal systems face repeated disruption. Neurological resilience erodes gradually. This doesn't result in immediate failure. It results in earlier decline. Fighters become easier to hurt, slower to recover, less consistent under pressure. Observers often describe this as aging or loss of motivation. In reality, it's accumulated stress revealing itself when tolerance narrows. Number 10. Late career fighters face sharper trade-offs. Recovery slows with age. The same cut that once felt manageable becomes destabilizing. Short-notice fights compress recovery timelines further. In these conditions, weight cutting shifts from strategic compromise to high-risk gamble. The fighter may still perform well, but the cost of error increases sharply. The body becomes less forgiving at the exact moment when experience is supposed to compensate. Number 11. Weight cutting also affects how fighters perceive their own readiness. Physical size provides confidence. Feeling larger can mask subtle instability. Fighters trust what they can feel and see, but stability isn't always perceptible. When the fight demands sustained output, adaptability, and rapid recovery, perception and reality diverge. The fighter believes they are prepared. The system reveals its limits only under maximum demand. Number 12. None of this means weight cutting is always wrong. It means it is always a trade-off. Some fighters tolerate instability better than others. Some styles rely more heavily on early control. Some matchups reward size more than endurance. The decision isn't about right or wrong. It's about understanding where risk will surface if things deteriorate. Weight cutting shifts risk from size to stability. That shift has consequences under stress. Number 13. Fans often focus on outcomes. Wins justify decisions. Losses are retroactively blamed on preparation. But preparation choices don't guarantee results. They shape failure modes. A fighter who cuts heavily may dominate early and fade late. A fighter who cuts less may struggle physically but remain resilient. Neither path ensures safety. Each path defines how collapse looks if it happens. Number 14. This is why weight cutting remains one of the least honest conversations in the sport. It's discussed in terms of toughness and discipline, not in terms of system management and probability. Fighters are not choosing bravado. They are choosing which risks they believe they can survive. That belief is tested only under the worst conditions. Number 15. Understanding weight cutting through this lens changes how fights are interpreted. A sudden decline isn't always about conditioning. A late stoppage isn't always about heart. Often, it's about a system that was already operating near its limit before the first exchange. The fight doesn't create the failure, it exposes it. Number 16. Weight cutting doesn't end careers by itself. What it does is accelerate the consequences of stress. It reduces the margin for recovery. It amplifies the cost of mistakes. It shifts risk into moments where control disappears. For fighters, the decision isn't whether weight cutting is dangerous. It's whether they are prepared to accept how that danger appears when everything goes wrong. If you value explanations that focus on decisions, trade-offs, and real-world consequences, subscribe to Fight Reality. This channel exists to clarify what competition demands when ideal conditions vanish.